Hello everyone, it's Galina and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how to create a bright card using a fun stencil technique. For this technique it's better to use stencil with a large openings. The second stencil can be with any pattern you may have. I'm going to start with Birthday Balloons Duo stencil from Studio Katia. I taped it down to a standard size A2 card panel. I'm using a white smooth cardstock. This stencil set consists of 2 layers, and for my first layer I'm going to use green and pink distress inks. I'm applying my inks with blender brushes and I'm trying to apply a small amount of ink to create a light on the card background. I removed the first stencil and now I'm going to use a spiderweb stencil on the balloons. I'm going to use those 2 stencils at once. I'm covering up the spiderweb stencil with balloon stencil so I can apply ink in the same place. Now I'm going to pick a lot of ink on my blending brush and again I'm applying ink on a balloon. In this way I can create a nice contrast on a balloon using just one color. And then I'm going to move on my next stencil. After I'm done with my first layer I can add more balloons on my card panel. This time I'm going to use one color for all the balloons and I will use my favorite blue color, and again I'm applying a small amount of ink for my first layer. I'm adding more blue ink through the spiderweb stencil and again I masked all those balloons with my first stencil. If you want to add a more contrast on your card, you can use a black color ink instead of using a monochromatic color combo for all these balloons. After I'm done with my all ink blending, I'm going to create a label for my sentiment. I'm going to cut out a small piece from a black cardstock using dotted shaker tag number 2. Actually, I'm using only this small die. To create a fun sentiment for my card, I'm going to use a few small sentiment stamps from different stamp sets. You can find the full supply list of products I used today in a video description below. I placed all the sentiment stamps on my acrylic block and I'm going to stamp them all at once. I'm stamping with a clear Versamark ink, it's a sticky embossing ink, and then I'm going to cover these sentiments with fine detailed white embossing powder. I want to customize this sentiment just a little bit, so I remove this little symbol near spooky word with my paintbrush. I melted the powder with my heat gun and my sentiment label is ready. I adhered my colorful card panel on a A2 standard card base and now I'm going to foam mount this sentiment label with a black double-sided adhesive foam tape. After I place my sentiment on the card panel, I know where I want to stamp my tiny images. I want to add more spooky elements on this card, so I'm going to stamp a little spider sit on a spiderweb balloons. I'm applying ink only on a little spider and I'm removing any ink from his string. And I decided to stamp a few candles on this card. They remind me of flying candles from Hogwarts. And a little bit later I'm going to color them with my Copic markers. That's why I'm stamping them with Memento black ink, it's a Copic friendly ink. And all my other images I stamped it with Versamark black ink. At the last moment I decided to add more dimension elements on my card, that's why I'm stamping few gift boxes on a separate white paper. And I'm coloring them up with my Copic markers and I'm trying to match my colors on a card. So I picked bright green, blue, yellow and pink colors. After my coloring is done, I'm going to cut out them with the coordinating dies. I'm foam mounting those little gift boxes on my card and I'm placing them close to the little spiders so it will look like the spider will hold gift boxes on a spider web. To embellish the card, I'm using a color bars pearls from Studio Katia. I love them a lot because they're multicolored pearls. I hope you can see all those little colorful dots on those pearls. They look pretty fantastic. And here's my finished card. I love all the spooky tiny elements on it, and this color combo is super bright and fun. I hope you like this video. Full supply list you can find in the video description below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye!